Hi, my name is Ireton, and I'm here with this beautiful lady. It's Ayanna Mojica, and we're talking about love, sex, and money.
Whoa!
Some really big topics here. But this is on another level of
The
conversation.
Golden Chalice Mystery School, and the founder of this Path of the Magdalene, which is the Magdalene Egyptian Isis lineage of sacred sexual alchemy.
Right.
And it came to me in 2009. I was in a time of very intense releasing, like everything in my life released. That was the time around 2008, 2009 when we had the whole economic crash. And at the same time, I had started my own business, left public education, left teaching at the university and public school to continue on my business. It was doing well, but then at that time, I lost my home, my beautiful Kenyan home, the relationship that I thought I was going to be in for the rest of my life, gone. Right. My savings gone, my retirement fund depleted, and I had only about 15 cents in my account.
Oh.
And so, but because I had a very deep connection with God, and I always had a very deep spiritual path, I just went in. I went into deep meditation, and I was also battling the fear and anxiety that wasn't only mine, but the whole world was in this whole global fear. Right. And in that time, I just started conquering the fear and going deeper inside and asking, God, what am I supposed to be doing now? My whole life is dedicated to serving you, but look, everything is gone. What happens now? I was technically homeless. And at that moment of prayer and meditation, I received powerful transmission, what they call, very powerful energies came, and it identified itself as the Magdalene.
No kidding.
And during this time, this energy was flooding me, and I was going into orgasmic waves of bliss, and it just stayed with me for days. Everywhere I went, it laying in the bed, it was just my whole body went into orgasm and ecstasy. And at the same time that it was happening, I was receiving transmissions, energetic transmissions, activations, so light codes and memory codes were opening, they were like switching on. I was getting this information and teachings from beginning to advanced that I thought was just for me, and then I found out that it was to share it with others, and so it identified itself as the Path of the Magdalene Egyptian Isis lineage of sacred sexual alchemy. And so this is how it ties in with your work, because you work with this beautiful chakra key system. Yeah. It's just a beautiful system. I was wondering if you can share a little bit about that, and then I'll share how the sacred sexual alchemy weaves in. Yeah.
Well, it's sure amazing how all the pieces fit when you're involved with sacred spiritual thought, and when you're in the world from your heart, and we're truly looking for what's true and what's right. And the things that you're that you're talking about sure fits with what I'm working on with chakra key. And I'm coming from more of a scientific perspective. And I think I was telling you earlier about, the great need for some people to have science. They think about love, they think it's just something that you can feel, and it's not a tangible, and it doesn't really count as any kind of science. And maybe I should go to the chakra key first. Let me start off with the chakra key, because the chakra key kind of provides us with a starting point where I can kind of explain to the new listener or new viewer what I'm about. And I'm an inventor, and I discovered something that's kind of a secret that's really amazing. And I wanted to start just here on this angle, if you're looking, because this is basically the Jewish menorah, and the Jewish menorah is a 7-candle menorah. And while researching love and the Hindus' concept of love and the Hindu concept of the chakras, I don't know when, but in my experimentation, I just turned the menorah 90 degrees, and I noticed how the menorah maps the interrelationships for the chakras, for the upper and lower chakras. And this provides us with all kinds of information for how God made our body. And God made our body with a basic drive for survival. He gave us this drive for sex, like we're supposed to populate the planet, and the way He made our interactions, I'll talk about the branches, but He also gave us a certain drive for power. So a certain drive for power is healthy for all of us. And He gave us a great big heart, and that's shown by the center mass here on the menorah. And then we also have this ability and drive for communication and to talk. And then we also have this wonderful mind, and this shows you our brow chakra that gives us ability to think and ponder and for intuition and to communicate. And then we have our wonderful crown chakra, which is our connection to the divine. But what this also shows is how our root chakra is connected to the crown, to the branches, and this is like a divine map for us to understand our wiring. And we were talking earlier about the power of the sacral chakra to the brow chakra and to the pineal gland, and the significance of that connection, and the significance of all the connections. The significance of this root and crown chakra connection is that we have no secrets. You know, we might as well be on television all the time, because nothing we do, think, or say goes unknown. I mean, your neighbor might not know it, but it's not like we could ever do anything that God doesn't know about. So we're an open book. So we have this wonderful connection between our sex drive, and like you can talk more about this as far as our sacral chakra to our brow in a minute. And we have this connection from our solar plexus to our throat. And when you push on your solar plexus, it activates your throat, which gives us another little measure of confirmation that all of this makes sense. And so we have this as a framework we can use for understanding our body, but for also building our society, for all the critical things that we might go through in life, for making decisions. But what I wanted to show you that's so interesting that goes with that, briefly, is the idea that, you know, science is always looking for the tangible evidence. You know, okay, where's the proof? And the proof that I wanted to point out is, and these are the colors of the rainbow. And basically, Mother Nature's proof is within her rainbow. And when you look at the rainbow, you will always see the same pattern of colors presented. Now the red is on top, it's reversed, but it's still the same energetic pattern of colors. And so the rainbow really gives us Mother Nature's pattern of energy. And ultimately, all life, you know, this is all about energy. And energy is all about movement and all about the circular movement of things. And so, for me, the rainbow, when I look at the rainbow now, I think, okay, there's God telling us that there's a pattern to life that we can use for all the things that we deal with as far as our structures, and it tells us how God made us. And you get the same pattern from a prism, and you take clear light, that light breaks it into the colors. And really, another way to look at this is light in itself is this randomness. And when it goes through the rainbow or the prism, it all becomes organized. And one of the great challenges we have is the problem of chaos. Where in our world and all around us, we have this chaos of thought. We have this chaos of ideas, chaos of options, chaos in the world, all this stuff going on. And ultimately, we need a way to organize things so we can bring it into some kind of order that we can deal with it. And this is a way that we can deal with the issues we face. And so, anyway, that's kind of what I'm working on, and we can kind of go back and forth on this. But, you know, earlier we were talking about, from what you were talking about, if we can go back into what you were talking about as far as the concept of our sexual health, which is, I mean, this is the yang part of our body is all for the yin part of our body, which is ultimately our spiritual expression. And so when we have a strong health in this lower side, we have a strong health in we have strong power to manifest and for pleasure. And
yes. Well, with what I was sharing with you before, Rick, and by the way, I love the scientific energetic mind. I mean, the scientific inventor mind and perspective. I love it. It's wonderful. And these days, science and spirit are finding common ground. It's beautiful to have these. So with the sacred sexual alchemy, we are able to access the life force energy. And life force energy is what creates the entire universe. And it flows through our bodies in such a beautiful way. And when it activates certain parts of our sexual organs, it feels really good. and so,
praise God.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that most people don't know how to master that energy. And so, yes, we do have our sexual energy for procreation, but there are even higher expressions of our sexual energy. And when we master this amazing life force energy, we can, have a greater, wonderful, juicy, express sexual life, and we can also create more abundance in our life, more money, abundance, or what I call sacred currency. We could have greater creativity. We could bring that energy up to our pineal gland and have much more creativity. It's very, very, very powerful. And when we master this sacred sexual energy, you have more vitality, there's more health. Even all your organs even work better. They get nice and juiced up.
Right, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's light.
Yeah, and imagine with the sacred sexual alchemy, and there's you've probably heard of sex magic. Some people call it sex magic. I see it a little bit differently, but let's say there's a couple. Let's say there's John and Mary, have mastered this sacred sexual energy, and they learn how to create the alchemy. They've learned how to transmute those things that are vibrating at a lower frequency, that are hindering them, transmute it to a higher frequency of love. So let's say John and Mary have Mary's their little girl, they're about to go to school. She's ready to go to school. Right. She's about 5 or 6. Yeah. But they don't want to send her to a public school. They want to send her, they're thinking of a way, how can I send Mary to the best school? Yeah. Well, they can actually, John and Mary can actually use their sacred sexual energy, and through a process of manifesting, they could actually manifest through the orgasm, through the orgasmic energy, setting the intention. They can create exactly what they want for Mary. So let's say they say, oh, we want her to go to school, and school costs $10,000, maybe $20,000 for tuition. And they can access this energy. They can set an intention together to set a ceremony for their sexual expression to be dedicated to creating this for Mary. And in the orgasmic expression, they send it into the universe, and then they wait for the answer because it's going to come. Now, perhaps someone gives them a scholarship. Perhaps someone gives them the money. Maybe it's 5 people who give them money. We never know how God's going to work. Right. But that's how powerful our sexual energy is. That's how powerful it is. So creative and so dynamic. Right. And I don't think most people are aware of that concept. I've heard of a similar concept to that, but think of
of other things you can do as far as sending your love into the world.
Exactly.
In the form of even of gratitude.
Exactly.
The concept of saying more love in our community, or more love in another foreign land.
Exactly.
Where you go with that is to your imagination.
Exactly, exactly. And there are actually people now who actually are using their sacred sexual energy through the alchemy. It's doing exactly that. They send it as a prayer.
Yeah.
To the earth. There are those who do that. In our path, the path of the Magdalene, we understand that we can access the orgasmic energy and have passion and juiciness in our relationships, and even greater love, because we could bring that energy up to our hearts and our hearts expand.
Right.
But it's also for ascension, for the process of ascension, for raising the vibration of our communities and our earth and ourselves, for ascension, to assist the earth, planet Earth,
right,
to create the new earth paradigm that we co-creating. So we, in our path, we're, the priestesses and what I call the white dragons are being mentored in that, so that we and our young people, if we can get our young people on this, we're using this dynamic, life force, juicy, passionate energy to co-create, intentionally co-create
absolutely,
what we want
right,
for our families, our communities,
exactly,
and for the earth.
Yeah. We can't just be here in neutral with our energy, just doing nothing or watching television and just being there but not being involved in the energetic flow of creative building our new world.
Yes, it's very important. So when you have the chakra key that you're sharing and with the world and the system, it's very powerful. And I really, really like how you have them, the chakras connecting. You have the root chakra
In the crown?
and the crown chakra connecting, because we need to be grounded. The
Right.
root chakra grounds us, and the crown chakra connects us to the root chakra, which is red, grounds us with Mother Earth. She's our mother. That's the divine feminine principle. And the crown chakra connects us to the celestial, to the sun, to that which is greater than ourselves. And we need that, the divine masculine principle.
Right.
And together,
it comes into the
they
heart.
meet in the heart.
Which is perfect.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I like how they connect, and then you have the brow, or what I call the pineal, or third eye chakra, connecting to the sacral chakra.
Right.
And what I like about that is that, again, like with the sacred sexual energy, we can bring that energy up. Instead of keeping it down here, most people keep their orgasms in the genitals, in what I call the lingam, is the penis, or the yoni is the vagina or the clitoris. Most people keep their orgasms here. But when we learn how to master the energy, we can bring it up, and it comes and it activates the pineal gland. It can drop in through our practice what I call mana and amrita, and it just charges that space up. You can go into ecstatic bliss with that. And then, of course, you're connecting your solar plexus with the throat chakra. And I like that. I never thought of that before, because the solar plexus is your center of power.
Right.
How you move about, whether
Sure.
positively or negative. And the throat chakra is your expression of power. How do you express yourself in the world? Here, how do you walk in the world? And here, the throat is how do you express yourself in the world. And I think it's a great, great, great system how you've connected those.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, this is 4,000 years old.
Yes.
Both of these technologies of the Hindu wisdom, it's very old technology,
Yes.
and this is old thought.
Yes.
But it's been buried thought, and it's not part of our consciousness. And that's what we're doing here, is to make this part of our consciousness so that we can kind of connect the dots. So we have some awareness of what's going on in our body that is kind of beyond our awareness. It's flying below our level of consciousness that we are not really aware of it.
Yes.
I mean, we can sense that love comes from the heart.
Yes.
You know, we can deal with that, and okay, and I can understand that from a root level. I want water, food, and sleep and stuff more than anything, and sexual energy comes from this area. So basically, it all makes sense. Is the bottom line to all this, and it's all here in this design for a reason. And I'm going to show this other drawing just to pull it out. And I have another really interesting drawing to show. Again, this is not my creation, just my reproduction. This is a drawing of a crop circle that I found on the internet, and this is a reproduction of the drawing. And this shows the same thing as we were looking at with the menorah, only a different view of things. And then this is your drive for survival. This is drive for sex and power. But look at the size of our heart chakra here, of this massive energy of our heart chakra. And this is our drive for communication and our brow and our crown chakra. But you know, the idea of we live in this dual world of yin and yang energy, of yin and yang things, opposites. And that's part of the nature of things. But if we were just yin and yang, if we were just Republicans and Democrats, for instance, we would never survive. The reason I surmise that we survive is because while we have this yin and yang energy, we have this huge energy in the middle that manages that energy. And that's what gives us this synergy, because we're able to productively use this energy for this purpose ultimately.
And the center energy is the love, you're saying the heart center. And what I found in research, and not only in current research, scientific research, but in ancient technologies, is that the heart is the main brain of the body.
Yeah, which is
the heart is the main brain of the body. And so when we can focus on the heart, we're focusing on the main brain of the body.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, the whole process of learning about how we're made is so amazing. And what this all tells us, going back a little bit, ultimately, is that we're human spiritual beings. We're not just a body. We're spirit beings in this body. We're all here for a reason. We're all here to learn about our body, learn about spirit, and to learn about the wonderful way that God made our body with this, giving us such great pleasures as with sex, and learning about how to energize our body with the proper use and management of wisdom about managing the sexual energy. And, we are so very lucky. This is a wonderful time for us to figure this out.
Yes, it is a wonderful time. Definitely is. Well, I wanted to, if I may, go into the, because this is, your system to me is still, it's colorful, and for those of you who are listening on radio, it's a very colorful graphic. This is what he's sharing now with the crop circle pattern. It's very colorful, still using the colors of the rainbow, and it's not linear. It's almost circular. It's curvy and circular, and it almost even looks like musical notes to me.
Yeah, it has a musical feel. Yeah.
It's so beautiful to see the colors. But I wanted to go into the connection between sex and money, because this is love, sex, and money.
Right. Okay.
This is a pretty powerful connection. In my research, because of experiences that I went through in my own life, there seem to be some pieces missing regarding my sexuality and relationships,
sure, and
my finances, my money. And when I was alone, on my own, I succeeded really well financially. I did well in my profession and in my bank account. And then I got into a relationship. It seemed like everything would just crash down. And I didn't understand the pattern, and it became so painful that I said, I've got to find out what this is about. So with all the healing, I did a lot of healing, a lot of therapy, lots of different therapies, spent many hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. And then I started working on it and said, I think there's a connection. And then I took I took my own personal studies and said, well, let me see if this is true for other people. So I had women's only workshops to see what women were experiencing, and men only workshops to see what they were experiencing, if there was a connection between the sex and money. And there was. And so I have a book out now, it's an ebook now. It's called Deep Treasures, Exploring the Dynamic Relationship Between Sex and Money. And what I looked at was the energetics. And I looked at the spiritual connections, the emotional connections, the mental connections, the physical connections, the financial, because it's all energy, right?
Right.
And it's all about energy. So I looked at where these two sit in the chakra system, and it happens to be the first and second chakra. And when we did the workshop, I took them through processes to clear stuck energy in these areas, but not just energetically in the chakra systems, but in the thought patterns. Because I found that many of us had limiting thoughts, patterns, and beliefs about sexuality and money. And when we went through the process of clearing those, then we could clear that out and bring in the new affirmations, the new patterns with sex and money. So that's, to me, it's still fascinating. I'm still working on this. And I hear it and see it all the time. You know, I see it in relationships all the time. And so to me, it's a very fascinating, still a fascinating subject. And when we master, see, in our system with the path of the Magdalene, we learn to master our sexual energy, master the sacred currency, which is the money, and master our mental energy. And when we master those three, then we can create or co-create the new.
That's awesome. That sounds like a good project for, where do I sign?
Sign up. Come. We have some new workshops, actually seminars. There's seminars now.
Yeah.
But you know what? What are the 3 top reasons why couples divorce or split up?
Sex and money, or?
Communication, sex, and money.
Yeah.
And if we can clear that up, because people, when couples get together, they get together because they really, really want to be together and they're in love.
Yeah.
Right? The love.
Yeah.
But they don't have the tools to keep it tight and solid and to be fully expressed and experience all our birthright. Our birthright is to be in relationships that are beautiful and loving, and to have abundance and prosperity, not just for a few, but for everyone. Right. And so couples get together with these intentions, and then stuff happens because they haven't dealt with the thoughts, habits, and patterns, and it's stuck in the chakra system somewhere, and a lot of times it's stuck in the sexual area. Yeah. And there's all kinds of reasons. There's all kinds of distractions. There's the television, and there's earlier sexual dysfunctions. Exactly. And there's just laziness. There's too much work. Yeah. There's all kinds of things that can come in the way. Yeah. So it doesn't just happen. It really has to be something that you have your intention set upon it, and I'm going to figure this out. And yes, we are. And I believe your chakra system is going to assist many people, especially who haven't heard about, they don't know too much about the chakra system. Right. It's going to really be a blessing for many people to get them on that track and thinking, well, how does this apply to me? How does this, for instance, can you share a little bit more on integrity and your thoughts on integrity and how it applies to the chakras?
Yeah, that's a great one, because integrity is such a big deal, because we all demand integrity from ourselves and from our friends, and if I'm going to be your friend, tell me the truth and be honest, and there's the idea of integrity is a huge thing for all of us, and the more people that are on this planet, the more important it is for all of us to be honest and be truthful. And so when I have to talk about it and look at integrity from the perspective of the primary basis of integrity begins with the fact of who are we. And when you look at it from the perspective of that we're human spiritual beings, okay, that's the fundamental basis. And then the concept as a spirit being, I'm here for a reason. You're here for a reason. We're not just here as some random accident. And so here we are, here for being, for a purpose. And I know there's lots of reasons for this, but in a nutshell, I believe the concept is kind of like an earth school concept, that as spirit beings we're here to learn. As spirit beings, to learn about love, to learn about how to be a better person, and to master our body, to have a chance to I think we come into the world with issues to figure out, and we're here to learn about love and how to be more loving. And so ideally, to learn about the concept of integrity really involves learning about our body. And for instance, you might, so the concept of integrity is one of wholeness, of being true in a multiple of areas. And then if you're a person of integrity, you would be a person, then your chakras are fairly balanced. I would say you wouldn't have any hang-ups here, or in any of your centers. You wouldn't have any blockages, because it is all about this flow. And so with integrity, there'd be a good flow going. But the concept of integrity is that we have integrity within all of our chakras from the perspective of survival, integrity within sex, integrity within our power, and that we are looking for a balance where that there's a healthy and honest balance of drive for power, and the concept of sexual partners is a big deal. And I don't understand the full spiritual nature of being with somebody, but that's a big deal. You just can't enter into a sexual union with just anybody. And it matters who you're with, and
it does.
And the whole process of that joining together is something. And then the concept of love, and the concept of how we're a flow of love, as far as are we giving, as far as being patient, and kindness, and compassion, and when things come our way, are we able to deal with that in a way that's a beautiful expression of who we are? And the concept of our communication, do we have integrity with the words we use? Do we use accurate words to accurately represent our thoughts? Are we sending out bad vibes? Are we sending out good vibes? And the concept of and then what's so powerful about our throat, here about our upper chakras, because all of this is for this. You know, the concept of all of our energetic centers for our body are for the purpose so that we might be an expression of it. The idea that we might be loving. We're here on earth for this reason, so we might be a communication, and so that we might communicate love, and we might have integrity of thought. And here's a really big area, like what you're saying, as far as if we're just thinking about who's going to win the next football game, and our whole energy is there, or in our office, or doing something that's somewhat menial, our energies are only there. If we realize that we're made more like a radio transmission tower, and that we can be very powerful in what we transmit out into the world, and how we manage our energies, like we're saying, our sexual energies, and that we can actually be very powerful with our thoughts, and then I can love you from San Diego to Orange County, or from here to my brothers in Afghanistan, or my brothers in Iraq, or people around the world. We can energetically send them love and send them good thoughts and good vibes. And so we're so very powerful. This is such an amazing vehicle that we have. We are all individually so very powerful. And so when we get into alignment with our connection to God, with the divine, and then with our thoughts, and then we learn to master our body, and then when we come together in agreement on it, we have a very powerful partnership. And so the issue with integrity is that sometimes we're in alignment with things, but occasionally we can get out of alignment. We start thinking, oh, I really hate that guy, or oh, this or that, and you get out of alignment with having greater aspirations of who we are up here, or oh, I really want to get that big boat, you know, that big expensive physical thing that I really don't need, but part of my power. I want to really look cool, and I want this big new car, and so we can get out of alignment with our wants, because it doesn't really line up with who we are. If our life purpose is to be helping children, and we're doing something that doesn't involve that, then we're not in alignment with what we should be doing. And so that's why it's all of this is so important, that we get into connection with who we are as a spirit being, and say, okay, who am I? What's it all about? And then am I in alignment with being an expression of that? And when we get in alignment with that, then we look at ourselves in the mirror and we go, boom, you're doing the right thing. Or you look in the mirror and say, you're not there, you're not doing it, you're not being the light. And sad to say, in this world, most people are not able to make a living following their passion. Because so much of our passions involve really singing, playing music, creating things, connecting to God. I mean, really, this is the area of our great passions. And there's not a lot of people, they don't pay a lot for singers or musicians. I mean, we as a society don't really reward people that are really gifted in these areas, and I would say we're upside down on our giftings as far as a flow of things. But that's another topic. But anyway, the concept of integrity is really big for all of us, and hopefully you get the concept of knowing that your integrity involves following your bliss. It involves being an expression of love and being honest, and this here goes to show from root to crown that we can never do anything that isn't known. There is no hiding. We're completely open, and so the best we can do is to be our loving self, and that's we're learning along the way.
One thing that's important regarding integrity is, as you were saying, if I could rephrase it, as being in integrity with ourselves first. I had this understanding about integrity when I was very much in integrity with other people. I always kept my word, and I was always,
right.
Things like that. But when I started looking inside, was I keeping my word to myself? Was I being in integrity to my own, for me?
Right.
And so we have to remember to be in integrity with ourselves first, and then with the other. I also want to say that for women...
Well, before you go off that, I just want to give an affirmation to that, because that is such a big deal. Because so often, especially when you have family and you have other social pressures, they're saying, oh, you should do this or you should do that, and you find yourself succumbing to their desires for your life instead of holding to yourself. You're holding your own life. And it can be difficult to do that, but it's really key. It's
very important. And integrity is a high on the... Have you heard of David Hawkins' Power versus Force?
Yeah.
A very wonderful study that he has. And on that scale, on the scale of emotions, and the scale of qualities, and the scale of virtues, and so on the higher scales, I believe integrity is one of the higher virtues on there. And so when we are vibrating high in integrity, then we are closer to that.
To God,
to the love vibration. I wanted to say something about the throat chakra, and this has to do for my sisters, for women. Many of us don't speak our whole truth because our voices have been silent. They've been silenced through ages and ages and ages of abuse and oppression, and the oppression of the divine feminine in churches and in society, and acculturation. So many of us growing up, even in this society, have not totally spoken our truth for fear of. And when the divine feminine begins to truly speak her truth in love, speak and open up her voice, we know that the throat chakra is a creative chakra. I mean, we can create worlds with our voice. The power of the words that come out can create. So the divine feminine, the women have to speak up and share their true, I mean, we have so much creative power, we have to speak. So releasing, if the men can hold the intention for their sisters and mothers and,
Yes.
and lovers, that encourage them to speak and heal this part. And you can tell if a person's not speaking their truth, because it's way up here and it's tight.
Right.
When a person's down here in their belly,
Right.
speaking their truth,
Right.
then we know there's like, it's
Right.
relaxed.
Right.
You can tell. It's for men and women too.
Right.
I know sometimes gentlemen, I'll hear them talking, it's real tight, it's like tight. And no, relax and speak the truth and breathe into it. So this throat chakra, it doesn't get a lot of attention.
Right.
But it's very, very important. And what do you have it connected to? The solar plexus,
Right.
our center of power.
Yeah.
And it is our divine birthright to be fully expressed, whether it's music or expressing through singing or any other creative venue with the word. Because we have to remember the word is powerful. I mean, in the Christian text, in the holy text, it says God created. He spoke
it
the
into
world. And it's not just Christianity. There are many ancient traditions and ancient mystery schools that teach you the power of the word. And in our system that we work with, we actually have what's called a 28-day word fast, where each and every word and thought that you think, if it's negative, limiting, or anything lacking, then you have to start over again. So each day you have to only speak words that are encouraging
Right.
and uplifting and life-giving and affirming. So for 28 days. What happens is that at the end of the 28 days, what you speak begins to manifest immediately.
Well, I like to think of it as conscious awareness, because I'm aware of the concept of conscious awareness, and where your attention goes, your energy flows,
Yes.
those little concepts. And so I try to live by that myself. And, I think the thing we all share, again, is this concept of there's things that are going on in our world that are negative. It's not like we're Pollyanna sort of a thing. And so we can get off on those channels and say, well, that's certainly not good, And so there's a time to process what's not right, but then there's also, with our conscious awareness, if we have the ability to kind of like change the channel, like on a television, where you basically say, I'm tuning off of that one, and I'm going to this happier place where I can have a more positive impact on this issue, or of thoughts, of just finding my own personal peace. But it's so critical, I think, because thoughts are energy, and energy produces energy. The concept of the golden rule, what goes around comes around. And when you get off on an energetic flow of thought about war or killing or something, that can take on a momentum, and you can wind up putting energy out about that. And so just this concept of mastering our energy and our thought is fundamental, and it's not always easy, but when we think about the concept of maintaining our conscious awareness, where we are at every particular moment, and then being aware of where your attention goes, your energy flows, so we control our attention in a way we control our energy. And we can say, I'm not sending my energy there, because I don't want that. I'm only going to send my energy where I want it back,
Yes.
And
so this is a topic of love, money, sex and money, and connecting the chakra systems, using this beautiful chakra system with it, and it all ties in, because everything is connected to everything.
It's all connected.
And all these chakras are connected to one another in one way or another. They're just all connected.
Yeah.
We cannot separate any part of this from ourselves, these beautiful energy systems. And with love, sex, and money, those are three pretty much top energy
Yeah.
centers,
Issues.
I mean, issues, and you know, women want love. I mean, that's the thing. They're way in their heart center, and the heart chakra, and that's what, you know, we're geared that way. We like the romance, and we want the love. We want our men to open up their hearts. Men are geared towards the sexual chakra, the sacral chakra, the root chakra, and that's good. That's where we've been made. And you know, men, you start talking about sex, and they perk up real quick.
Hello.
Everything else perks up too. But when you put the two together, it's dynamic. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And but we have to each, you know, the women and the men have to balance both of those in their own systems. And then we're talking about money. We had this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
You know, we just use the word money because people understand that, but I like to call it sacred currency because it's sacred, it's holy. To me, money is, that currency is our life force energy as well. Yeah. And I'm exchanging my life force energy with you for what, the house, the car, or just a bag of groceries. And to me, it's sacred. Anytime I get money in my hand, I bless it.
Yeah,
I clear it from any negativity, and then I transmute it to a higher frequency of love, and I recirculate. Some goes to tithing and to giving to others. Some goes to continuing the work that we do, and then some I just bless somebody and investing as well. So what we're talking about here is very, very important. And actually very interesting. And I can go on with this for a long time. I do want to say that if anyone's interested in the book, Deep Treasures, Exploring the Dynamic Relationship Between Sex and Money, you can go to my website, which is pathofthemagdalene.com, PATHOFTHEMAGDALEN.com. I also have a site, AyannaMojica.com, AYANNAMOJICA, and it's right now in ebook form, and you can download it, and soon to be hard copy, and it really addresses the sex and money very powerfully, and the chakra and how the chakras are related.
Okay. And if you would like some more information about the chakra key, you can go to my website at www.chakrakey.com. And I don't think I have a link to your site, but at some point I'll definitely like to get a link so we can kind of change if somebody wants to go into this.
Well, this has been great talking, and you know what? You can do a whole entire, for each one of these chakras, you could, you know, share and teach on each one of these and all the dynamics that are involved with them. It's very powerful.
Yeah,
thank you so much for inviting me and including me.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. It's been really fun, and thanks for taking the time to tune into this. And you know, the idea for all of us is to join in love. And thank you for sending us your love, and we definitely send you our love. And our country and our community all needs good vibrations and prayers, and that we would all live more from our hearts. And so, if you're watching this, be sure to join in with hearts, with your thoughts. And if you're having a great sexual relation, be sure to send that love out to all of us.
With your orgasm.
The orgasm.
Send out love.
Send out the love. Bring it up.
Bring it way up. If anyone's interested in private counseling or coaching, actually mentor in not only the path of the Magdalene, the sacred sexual alchemy, but sex and money. I'm available for that as well.